There you are. There you are. Just where I left you yesterday. How's it hanging, everybody? Here we are for another version of this thing of ours. I'm going to warn you about something. And a lot of you find folks, and this is true, have indicated to me that you find this to be rather problematic. And the reason is because you don't like handling a lot of things at the same time. Simultaneous consideration of things, especially things that are seemingly disconnected. I found this out. And we're going to break you of that habit, especially if you want to be a part of this thing of ours here. You're going to have to be broken of that habit. And the thing that I want you to do is I want you to spend more time observing and noticing and not just repeating. Don't let Fox News or CNN or New York Times tell you what the story is. You find out something. What interests you? What are you noticing? That's the most important. And that's what I want to teach you. Go out in the world. If you want to spend some time watching, in fact, let me ask you this. Let's say someone from another planet were to land, some extraterrestrial or what have you, and you wanted to say, I want to show you some stuff. Where would you take them? Where would you take people that you wanted to say, I want to show you what we're all about? And I'm going to blow your mind. First, I would take them to any baggage carousel at Newark Airport. In particular, Newark. Wow. And not just because of this Southwest stuff. I mean just in general. Just look at these people. And we'd sit there and I'd have a little, maybe a disguise or so nobody would notice. You probably wouldn't even notice him. Not in Newark. He could be there with a big head, and the eyes and the whole bit. Nobody would notice him. He looks like, anybody else. And I'd say, notice, first of all, can you notice anything? You notice anything? Do you notice anything really different in terms of color? What do you mean? Skin color? Not really, but yeah, there's some variation. What about this thing called race? You notice anything called race? Yeah, I guess. It's not that big of a deal, is it? Not really. Not if you look at it. I mean, it is, but it isn't. Well, that makes a big deal. That makes a big deal. People, they're racist. But if you look at people, does it really matter? Not really. I mean, you see some difference, height, but what do you really notice? Well, let me show you this. Let me show you this picture. This is from 1950, and this is from today. What do you notice? People are huge. People are huge. That's what you really notice. It's huge. The level of fatness today is like nothing we've ever seen. When you were growing up, the people that you thought was, my cousin Jerry is a little... Jerry was nothing. Remember when you thought that Jackie Gleason was huge, fat? It was nothing. At the turn of the 20th century, people traveled for 100 miles to see a fat man, somebody who weighed 300 pounds. Got kids who were 300 pounds. Kids! What happened? Here's the best part. This is what I'm telling the traveler. Watch what people say. Well, when we were kids, we exercised. They didn't exercise. It's not about exercise. It's not it. Watch what people say. The answers are the best part. The observations. Observe people observing. What do you think people say? What else do you notice? A lot of tattoos. I know. That's tribal. That's marking. That's to let everybody know that I am a mindless dupe, especially when they're all covered. That is, I am so devoid of individuality. I've got to really be a part of the group. And now what used to be considered, look at this, doesn't matter. What else do you notice? Their luggage, I know. I know. Look at their luggage. Isn't it something? Don't you love when you... The next time you buy luggage, you may ask yourself, oh, this is stupid. Somebody said bright pink. Bright pink might be the best thing for you. You may get some laughs, but you can spot that baby a mile away. By the way, the other day we had a discussion. Somebody said, what color is your bag? Somebody said pink. It was red. We got into this whole thing about pink versus red. Well, they're in the family, but not more burgundy. Anyway, that's that. Now remember, he's watching this. Is this new here? No. What do you mean? You mean the airport? Yeah. They've been doing this for, I don't know, 70 years maybe. Commercial flight, maybe in the 50s. I mean, sort of, maybe. But really, I don't know, 50. And they do this every single day. They've been doing this every single day. And Southwest flies. Notice how I'm doing the hand signal so you know what I'm talking about. It flies, lands. It goes from this airport to that airport and back again. Maybe twice a day. Could be more. I don't know. But every single day of the year for years. Thousands of flights. Every single day. They know how long the flight is. They have put in the computer how long. When they say it's from Pittsburgh to St. Louis, they know exactly how many. They've got 10,000 data pieces of travel. They know how long it takes from the longest to the shortest in this condition. They have a lot of metadata. They know everything. They have taken this suitcase with a tag, putting it on the conveyor, putting it on the plane. They've done this now tens, maybe hundreds of thousands of times for years. This is one thing they should know. But every now and then, something breaks down. And what is it? We don't know. That's the thing that's fascinating. It doesn't break down normally, but it did then. Well, what happened? It's bad weather. Has there been bad weather before? Yes. But not like this. What's the reason for that? Who knows? Where's the Secretary of Transportation? He has nothing to do with this. Remember when Elizabeth Dole was a Secretary of Transportation? You know Elizabeth Dole did? Bob Dole's wife? She came up with that thing at the back, for brake lights. You know that above, in the back of your car, even though you go, a stretch, has that bar of red light so you can see cars braking way ahead of you? That's Elizabeth Dole. Okay. What does Pete Booty Giggity do? Nothing. He's gay. Now, I mean, I say that he's proud. He's a father. He's got a partner, a husband. They have a child, and he was on paternity leave. I think, again, maybe, whatever. But he's just gone. He just is. And if you push it, be careful because he's gay. And I thought for sure, I said, this guy's got a real place in the future. Not really. He's just there for whatever. But the reason why he's there is because these people don't care. That's why. They don't care. What do you mean? Again, I'm explaining this to this person because this administration wants you to know we don't care what you think. And we're going to be out of town. Biden's going to be gone. Joe's going to be gone. We don't care what you think. You let Fox News tell you all this stuff. They're going to do it. They're going to talk about it. We don't care. We don't talk about it. We don't bring it up. We don't say anything. We don't care. We just do our thing. That's what we do. This is an observation. Now, why? You can come up with all kinds of whys. The why part is very difficult to say. Very, very difficult because, particularly, the fact that we really don't know why. But I observe things. And I will be observing things on January the 14th. Did you like the way I did that segue? At the cutting room. And I want to see you there. Please, I'm telling you, tickets are going. Don't wait. They have this. I don't want you to wait in the bar or whatever. No, I want you to be with us in the big room. Because when we close the doors, you got to hear this stuff. Because we don't want a lot of people out there hearing it. Because they can't take this. That's January the 14th. Hurry up, 2023. There's the link right there. One more time for you. And it's in the description section here. You be there. You know, we still have friends that we don't talk to. Because of Trump. I don't even know what that means. Don't talk to us. Have you noticed that? Yeah. Well, Trump's gone, by the way. He's not going to be... I'm sorry to say he did he tried his best. Oh, did you see about Kimberly Guilfoyle? Did you hear this story? I don't know if it's true or not. You know what? I'm not going to waste my time. Read it. Do some research on that. Next point. Let me explain a couple of things to you, which is very interesting. Speaking of airlines, as you know, I love design. Design is something which I think is fascinating. How do you make something as perfectly as... Oh, I got to see this. Stop right now. Hang on. You just sent me this, didn't you? I love this. Mrs. L just sent me this. These are the top baby names in New York City. Okay. Well, here are the names. Number one. Oh, these aren't. Number one girls' names. I'm going to go the top 10, okay? Top 10 New York City names, okay? I'm changing the subject. Just want to let you know, because sometimes I just want to change the subject. I think these are kind of nice for girls.
It's kind of old-fashioned if you look at them.
Listen to this. This is really something. Emma, number one. I'm going to go down the list, 1 through 10. Emma, Olivia, Mia, Sophia, Leah, Ava, Isabella, Amelia, Luna, and Sophia. They all end in A. Well, except for Leah, but AH sound. Isn't that something? Emma, Olivia, Mia, Sophia, Leah, Ava, Isabella, Amelia, Luna, and Sophia. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? How about this one? Boys' names. You ready? Liam, Noah, Ethan, Lucas, Jacob, Joseph, David, Daniel, Aiden, and Benjamin. They sound very biblical. These are very Hebraic, except for Liam, Noah, Ethan.
And the only one is Luna for girls.
Yeah, Jacob, Joseph, David from the Bible, Daniel, Benjamin. I love this. Can I tell you the best story I ever heard in my life? Can I tell you the best story ever? When I was a prosecutor, we had, in juvenile, we had some of the best names ever. We would go through the docket, like the day before you get the docket. Look at this. Oh, my God. And it would be like in Ray, baby, whatever. One. It's just all kinds. One was I still love this name, Sinatra Jones. I thought was just one of the best names ever. Octalanza, Guanzi, Mazaroff. There was a placenta. There was a vagina. I didn't know. We had to look that one up, but there was a placenta. Absolutely. Oh, Famali, and everybody who has ever been a part of either hospitals, first responders, police, anybody who comes into contact, Famali was huge. And that, of course, is the name female. There wasn't the Male for male, but Famali was number one. I mean, we saw it very, 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 very famous. Famali. Because you see if you're female, Smith or whatever it is. Okay. And there were some other ones. I love mispronunciations. One time I had a client who was talking to her. She had brought her daughter whether they were talking. And I said, well, what happened to the baby? I had a baby. Oh, it passed away. I said, oh, I'm sorry. What happened? She said, screaming mighty Jesus. And I looked at the daughter. He goes, spinal meningitis. I thought, how in the hell did you? How about this name? Nosmo King. It was the King family. King Nosmo. Nosmo. I thought, this is an interesting name. I love this. Where did you get this name from? She says, well, I saw this sign, this door open. It said, no smoking. But the way the door was, it said, Nosmo King. There was a Spanish family. The baby's name was Usmail. Usmail. Yes, U.S. male. But then it got better. Now, the name we had in this, we were in this room, we had this cork board, and there was this one piece of paper. It's kind of yellowed. It was there with this one thumb tack, and it was the best name we had ever seen. And it was up there for the longest time. And you had to say, you couldn't just say, hey, I heard this name. No, you had to bring it in. There was about 6 of us in this division. We were looking at this thing. And the one that was the best up for a long time was Azole. And I will spell this for you. It was Azole, and it was a very interesting thing. Let me see. And it was, let me see if I can spell. I'm going to do this for you, and you have to read this. And we wanted to know this, and it was spelled like this. This was the pronunciation. Now, Azole was the name. Just imagine going through life with that. Now you have to read. You have to read this. You can't. I'm sorry if you're listening to this on Spotify later on. You're missing this because I want you to see it. I don't want to spell it. If I spell it out loud, it loses it. You have to see it. Some things are funny when you see them. This was a bit. But for the longest one, okay. So that was up there for a long time. And I'll never forget, one time, one of my colleagues came in and he said, he said, gentlemen, drum roll, please. I said, drum roll? He goes, we have, and he walked over to the corkboard, took this thing down, yellow, had been there for a long time, kind of rolled it up very, very, very ceremoniously, threw it into the waste basket, whatever, put this new one up. He goes, read it and weep. We all walked up. What could it be? And the name was pronounced Shaithed. Sounds almost beautiful, isn't it? Shaithed. It sounds almost... This is the spelling. That's it. Shaithed. Imagine going through life. You'll never be the president. You'll never... You're going to have to, make that S. Murray, Abraham, kind of a thing. Shaithed. Now... we found out it was on the docket the next day, in the morning. So all of us were there, and you got to imagine what you have to. The juveniles, it was like a Southwest baggage, packed with people. But it's not just like in regular adult court. You got the defendant. You've got mom and dad and this and fun, the social worker. Each case has like 10 people, so it's just packed. So we went there. There's this guy, Jerry, this old bailiff, and he goes, can I help you boys? No, Jerry, yes, go ahead. We're just watching you do your job. He said, you see me do my job every day. What's going on here? Something's going on. He knew something was going on. No, just go ahead. Just go ahead. All right, and he had a microphone. And they say, like, page 4 of the docket, Madison Johnson family, mom, dad, social worker, Madison Johnson, page 4, page 5, Keanu Reeves, whoever it was, page 5, Page 6, shit. And all of a sudden you hear, present, over there, way in the back. He goes, what? And he said, what? So then we're outside. We said, wait till the judge sees this. So we all moved over. We're outside the hallway. And the judge is saying, what are you all doing? Nothing, Judge. We just want to see you do your job. You're here every day. Yeah, I know. I just want to. Okay, moving around. Okay, fine. And, yeah. And he said, what? So, make a long story short, years later, years passed, and I told the story on a show in Florida. And I told the story, and I spelled it out. And they were saying, can you spell that? I said, that's the name. You know, when you say Fouquet, you know, like bouquet, like hyacinth, you know. In Thailand, phonetically, and get you in trouble. So anyway, so I said it. I did my thing. I was doing my thing on the air. And they said, we don't believe it. We don't believe this. And all of a sudden, this very nice woman said, yes, I just heard you speak before regarding this. I'm a data processor in the Pinellas County school system. And we have one, they have one, I love it. But it was pronounced Shatid. But yes, we have. And people were just, now that is the best name. Can you imagine the driver's license? You'll never be, ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States. Imagine a hashtag, you know, just because your name is very, very important. Your name is important. That's all I want to tell you. Your name is important. Now, let me tell you what else is important. And you probably know where I'm going with this. Because in addition to it being important, there's a lot of other stuff that's important. And that is this world right now, a dangerous, dangerous place with every passing day. And the question that I have for you is, with all of this collapse, with all of this that you've seen with snow and supply chains and people, and what happens if things shut down for a month? Not a day, not a week, a month. What are you going to do? Is your family prepared for severe food shortages? The answer is no. That's why My Patriot Supply is going now the extra mile to make their emergency food as affordable as possible. How? Because they're taking $250 off their 3-month emergency food kit, which is the minimum your family should have. That's true. This kit provides delicious, easy-to-make breakfast, lunches, dinners, drinks, and snacks for one person for 3 solid months. And you get one for each of your family members, while you can save $250 off during this timely sale. So I want you to go to preparewithlionel.com. Preparewithlionel.com. Just do it. Look at this. Because for this 3-month food kits, these kits are in stock and they're ready to go. And the order ships fast and free and arrives in unmarked boxes for your privacy. Go to preparewithlionel.com, preparewithlionel.com. Those who know what's coming are using today to prepare. Are you? That's a question I have. Preparewithlionel.com. Now, going back to my original question of my hypothetical with my friend from outer space, I was saying, I want you to notice something. You see these things they're pulling? Yeah, that's called luggage. It's called a suitcase. Now, in the old days, we had a suitcase with a handle, and you picked it up. Do you ever see on TV when some woman they have like some scene, and they're all empty. You see the cab driver or Cary Grant or Greer Garson, and she's leaving, and he grabs a suitcase under his arm, and he's grabbing two. There's no way. They're empty. Because it was just basically a box with a handle. It was horrible. Some of us I used to have a trial case, one of these cases for trial, have all your stuff. Thing weighed a ton. And they had with it I never forgot this. I went to a luggage store at the West Shore Mall and bought this thing. It was a little rack that you lowered this arm, you put your suitcase on it, and they had rubber, like an expandable or elastic clips to hold your suitcase. It was the most incredible thing. Wheels. It was a rack. It was just this movable rack or device or trolley or carriage unit to put your suitcase on. And if you had 5 pieces, you bought 5 of these things. It was great. It was wonderful. You could actually roll, to tilt sideways, but roll this thing. This went on for I don't know how many years. And then somebody said, wait a minute. Why don't we just put wheels in the suitcase? What? Why don't we put wheels?
You know, the man who invented that was from Scarsdale.
The man who invented that was from Scarsdale. Well, God bless him. Westchester County. So anyway, it was the greatest thing in the world. Oh my! Now, meanwhile, the people who were selling the racks were out of business. But all of a sudden, they said, "Screw that! We throw these things away. Here's what we need." And people, luggage companies, went, "This is great." 10 years went by, and somebody said, "Wait a minute! Got a better one for you. Why don't we put wheels that rotate 360? Then you can just push. You don't even have to tilt it. So you could theoretically bring trunks and huge. The bigger the suitcase, people bought bigger suitcases. Your suitcase is not big enough ever because everybody wants to get that carry-on, which is the most ridiculous thing. Wait a few minutes and just go to the carousel. Big deal. But if you're going to be there for some time and you're going to just bring, anyway. Now you're sliding these things. And if you ever go to JFK or anything with international and you see these folks, they know how to travel. When you see families, oh my God. And with Airbnb, they bring in, I think, families in these things. So it went from suitcase to rack to wheels to rotating wheels. This is how slow it was. So you're going to sit there and say, Grandpa, yeah, tell me again about, that's right, little Luna. You see, when we were in the old days, we didn't have wheels. Really? Yep. That's crazy. I know it. It's nuts, but it's true. Wow. Now one day we're going to do this. Grandpa, yes, Judah. Was Judah a name? Anyway, yes, Aiden. Tell me again about the GOP. Well, sit down here. You see, one day there was a time when the Republicans were really something. I mean, they were great. Ronald Reagan, moral majority, the Southern strategy, Richard Nixon. Oh, my God. And then in 1980, Rush Limbaugh came, and he created conservative talk radio. Liberals and leftists and we didn't even know what woke was. We didn't even know what that meant. They were nowhere to be found. Rush Limbaugh laughed at them. And he'd have condom updates and this updates and homeless updates. They laughed. And they were just, and the poor, the left was always like, stop picking on us. And and it was great. I mean, it was just great. There was no left. They thought George McGovern was left. Can you believe that? They thought George McGovern was left. It's the most amazing thing I've ever heard in my life. They thought George McGovern was left. That is the most amazing thing I've ever heard in my life. They're truly amazing. Oh, by the way, I forgot to give you that My Patriot. So, oops. There's the link for that. Sorry about that. Makes no sense. If you don't know how to do it, preparewithlionel.com. There we go. There's the link. So anyway, so they didn't have this. And the Republicans were something. Did you know in 1856 when they had the first Republican National Convention in Philadelphia, they had 2 platforms. They called the Twin Pillars of Barbarism. Polygamy, they weren't crazy about the Mormons, and slavery. The Republicans. Democrats were the Klan. Nobody cared about them. They were then around the 60s, Vietnam, but everybody was against Vietnam for the most part. So, but they were kind of like, okay, well, whatever. And they were just sort of, but they were always there. But it was the Republicans. They really did stuff. And there was John F. Kennedy, but he was a Republican. He was a conservative. Johnson was pretty good, pretty progressive, pretty much so. Absolutely. Very much so. Nixon wasn't even anything domestic. He was foreign policy. And it goes on and on and on. In fact, it was so interesting that Bill Clinton one time called up and said, how come we don't have a Rush Limbaugh? Why don't we have anything? I mean, there was nothing. The left had nothing. CNN was a real new... CNN was great. Tell me, Grandpa. Yes, Jebediah. CNN was... It was... If ever there was a war, you went to CNN. They were the best. Bernie Shaw, Bernard Shaw, Peter Arnett, Ted Turner. It was great. Were they left? No, they were news. The New York Times was always a little bit, but they were serious. They used to review things. Yeah, we had reviewers. You know, it was something. It was something. And then everything was fine. And Ronald Reagan was great. And Rush Limbaugh and everybody. Fox News. Oh, Fox News. So obvious. You know, just so obvious. They're so obvious. Then what happened, Grandpa? Donald Trump. Was he left? No. That's not the point. Donald Trump was like a petard. Do you know what a petard is? A petard is a breaching tool. It's like a bomb. You put it up against a door, kind of, and you bow. Your hoist means you're destroyed by your own petard, by your own bomb. He was this. They slid him in, and they went. He was like that supposed red flag in front of the bull. He's what fireworks are to dogs. Do you ever have a dog that hates you but loves everybody else? Well, Donald Trump made people crazy, nuts. You have no idea. We thought Nixon was bad. No. And he had some good points, but it went berserk. Berserk. Crazy. It's unbelievable. Really? I'm telling you. What happened then? Well, got very interesting. Later on, there was a guy named Joe Biden. And everything changed on January the 20th, 2021. Everything. Things had changed before. There was COVID and there were some other things. But when Joe Biden came into office, everything. It was like this. It was like, imagine going to a play and you think you're watching something and it's intermission and the curtain comes down when they had curtains. And then after the intermission, when the curtain goes up, it's a different play in a language you don't understand, in a plot you've never heard of. And they lock the doors and everybody in the theater goes crazy and you can't get out and you don't know what's happening and you're wondering, please make this stop. And it never stopped. And there was no GOP ever again. Never saw them again. They just went away. They went away. And the Democrats really weren't there either. They were just sort of, they were there. But this new form, we don't know what they were. And everything went crazy. Then people went crazy. All of a sudden there's fights breaking out. Fights. People throwing things at McDonald's and Arby's and drive-thrus. People were running in and stealing things. And under this new administration, they said, don't do anything. Don't say anything. Why? Just don't. But why not? Well, most amazing thing ever. Did it ever recover, Grandpa? No, Methuselah. No, it never did. Because the GOP went away. And what they would do is, instead of actually coming up with policies, they'd bring out this lady named Tulsi Gabbard, who looked like Lily Munster, and they'd bring her out, and she would talk like this. And then the GOP, instead of doing anything, would slam people. What does that mean, Grandpa? Well, Mephistopheles, I don't know. But the social media folks said, Tulsi Gabbard slams, so George Santos slams them. Joe Rogan slams Jimmy Kimmel. Who? It doesn't matter. Slam. It's slammage. Slam sandwich. It was slamming. So did they ever pass legislation anymore? Nope. Did they ever come up with new policies? Nope. So you're telling me they didn't do anything? Nothing. Nothing happened. Nothing. They didn't do anything ever again. It's the most amazing thing anybody's ever seen in the history of mankind. They never did anything. It just went away. And then there were groups that came along. Oh, there was a thing called Turning Point. What did they do? I don't know. They just turned the point or changed the point or something with the point. But they raised money. Then there was a group called CPAC. What did they do? Nothing. And then, there were Peace Stars. Jim Jordan. He was good. He never wore a jacket. Did you know that? Yeah. Then there was Rand Paul. Rand Paul used to make fun of this guy named Dr. Fauci. He didn't do anything. Never saw another Republican, again. They passed a $40 gazillion omnibus bill. They would fight over nothing. Yeah, the Matt Gaetz would raise his MTG over here. But the Democrats were solid. They never changed. They never turned on each other. And everything is good. That's why today, Timmy, you and Godzilla, whoever it is, that's why we don't have genders, birthdays, church, school, dating, Halloween, Christmas, marriage, dancing. Nobody drives. That's why you're in an autonomous vehicle. We used to go to school. Now you're at home on your Chromebook being solicited by men from countries you've never heard of before. We don't go to school anymore. That's why you can't write. That's why you can't make eye contact. That's why you're on medication. That's why you have anxiety. That's why you have a service mallard so you can stay at home. That's why you never go outside. And you've been wearing a mask your entire life, and that's why you have no sense of self or expression because of this interminable, seemingly endless group of diseases and upper respiratory. And that's what happened. And it was wonderful. And it all started with a suitcase. It all started. Everything. What? It was amazing. And they said amazing a lot. Everything was amazing. Nobody spoke English. Everybody said literally. They meant figuratively. They would say, literally, my eyes literally bugged out of my head. No, I don't think so. No, literally, I died. No, I don't think so. Literally, they couldn't speak. Everything was amazing. Then it was hilarious. And then it was epic. And then they were slamming each other. Oh, and listen to this. Come here, Jerusalem, you and Antifa, come here. Listen to this. Listen to Grandpa. This is when I knew something was really bad. You ready for this? One day, we used to have these things called tattoos. And they were, some it was normally people, well, those kids are kind of low rent. It was, sort of low rent. It really was. They had people like, carnival workers, maybe the Marine. You go in the Navy and you have an anchor, or somebody put mom, that kind of thing. But it was, you never covered a sleeve. And women never, ever had a tattoo. If you did, you were considered fallen. And I'm not going to explain to you what fallen means, but it's not good. We don't even have that concept anymore. If you saw a woman with a tattoo, carnival worker, or a kind of person that we don't want to talk about. Very, very rare. Or maybe sometimes you might see somebody in a foreign carnival or something, but not really. Tattoos were you just never saw it. Then around the 80s, this thing kind of picked up a little bit, and there was a thing called a tramp stamp. And that was kind of interesting. This is when mom jeans were started. This is before selfies, before bad plastic surgery, but this is when things changed. They had, what was that thing called? Those terrible things in the mall, those, what were those things called? Where you get the your glamour shots. What are they called? Don't you remember that place in the mall? You go, they have glamour shots where you go and they all had this weird, everybody had this picture at home. It was like, wow. You didn't have that? Don't you remember, was it called, please help me with this. Glamour shots. It was this fuzzy, kind of a glossy, opaque, it was sort of a thing, I don't know, lens. And they always had this, like this broken neck look. And everybody had this like, wow, that was your selfie. That was your selfie. That was your, look, this is a picture dedicated to me and I look glamorous. I think they were called glamour shots. I know you've seen these. They were in the mall. Not photo booths. No. Anyway. And that was it. Nobody really came out of nowhere. We didn't have weird moms and MILFs and things like that. Nobody. Moms were moms and people were people. In fact, believe it or not, we used to have maybe a roll of film and you would go and you'd have it, developed and that was it. And you would wait. And you had maybe one picture of grandpa or grandpa or whatever it is. Glamour shots. Yep, there you go. Glamour shots. You remember that? It was the weirdest thing. Like your grandma? What's wrong with your neck, Grandma? I don't know, but they all look like this. And you would point to your chin or something. Anyway. Okay, cut to the chase. Now today, what do we have? This narcissism like you can't believe. Narcissism. Narcissism with a capital NAR. It's wild. Photos. The other day, we were having lunch midtown. Very nice French point. And I know I was driving Mrs. L crazy because I said, look at this. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. There was a woman, bless her heart, but she could have been a member of the Steel Curtain for the Steelers. But bless her heart. And she and her friend are having lunch. And it's a very nice place. It was a French place. And I swear to God,
Clarify that I think they were about their mid-40s.
they were in their mid-40s. Mrs. L, this is very important. They weren't girls, mid-40s. And this was it. Now, she's sitting here, the friend's sitting here, and I'm saying, look at this, look at this. I've never seen it. And there's plates and people going, food's coming, and then they're taking pictures of here's the drink. I say, eat the damn thing. Eat. And I've seen it maybe once or twice. Never like that. I'm surprised he didn't have the stick. You know, that stick that goes out there. And this one obviously was an eater because, believe me, she looked like Bronco Nagurski. But the point is and something also happened. Listen, little Methuselah, something happened. I don't know when this was. But when women started to take pictures, they did this. Like duck lips, like a fish. And this became sexy. Not a pout. Pouting is one thing. This is like I'm eating something. You know when you go to the doctor and and he says spit. And you're looking for the thing. We lost it. And it started with a suitcase. We're out of our minds. And now you get people walking around with all of this stuff, all of their hands, they're spitting, they're taking pictures, they have no sense of self. Everybody's medicated. Everybody's got anxiety. Everybody's got some kind of you should see the service dogs at Newark Airport walking around with a service dog. That's not a service dog. That's a dog. And don't give me this. There are people who really... Anyway, we're out of it. We're gone. There's no GOP. There's no sense of self. There's no anything anymore. And here's the best part. Now that it's time for getting close to 2023, people are thinking that somehow things are going to be better. People think it's going to be better. People think it's going to be better. And it's not. It's going to be worse. It's going to be worse because There's no opposition. I'm going to stop right there. Grandpa, you're scaring me. I know. Was there anything good that happened then? Yes. Are you going to tell us about my pillow? I sure am. I sure am. Listen, little anaconda. Let me tell you something. Mike Lindell came along and changed everything. Changed the entire perspective. Changed everything. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? Mike Lindell changed it. He changed it. This isn't just an expression. And MyPillow.com was the most amazing thing in the world. And this guy was truly amazing because he came along, and in addition to putting out this great product with great sheets and great pillows and great slippers and great everything and duvets, he decided to say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to express myself politically. And they jumped on him. They jumped all over him. And Bed Bath & Beyond even kicked him down. Bed Bath & Beyond. What's that, Grandpa? Oh, that's that company that went out of business. Because they didn't realize that a lot of people said, wait a minute. You can't tell us what to do. We're here to buy frying pans and coffee makers and pillows and stuff. We don't want to, we're not here to talk politics. Well, they didn't know better. But Mike Lindell carried on. And he got bigger and bigger and bigger because the products were fantastic. And you know what, little Ray Conniff over here? Ray Conniff. He got bigger because of this one promo code. See, people go to mypillow.com, but they use the promo code Lionel. Hey, that's your name. I know. And it all changed. Changed everything. So if you're smart, if you're wise, you will go to mypillow.com, put promo code Lionel. Or if you insist upon landline, and by the way, everybody should have a landline because there's just, everybody should have a landline, okay? Because when your phone goes, you can call 800-645-4965. Okay, now, I want you all to do something very, very important for me right now. Listen to me, and you listen really, really good. Number one, I want you to look at, let me see here. Where is it? Oh, here we go. This is Mrs. L's brand new. Let me tell you something. If you're going to see one video only in your life, it's got to be this one. And I'm telling you right now, it is a subject matter that only she can address. Only she can address. Huh?
Cancel. January 6th committee cancels Trump subpoena. Did you see it?
Yes, honey, that was yesterday. Okay. Honey, I'm talking about your YouTube channel.
I'm sorry.
Please, what's going on here? This is Mrs. L's YouTube channel, but this is the one I want you to watch. Listen to me. If every parent and every student and every person never uploaded another picture, there's a certain name for this. It's called something pics. I don't want to get into the name of it, but you know what I'm talking about. It's a rather, I think it's an improper name, but unfortunately it's very, very accurate. If kids never did this, we would not have this extortion problem we're having. It is exploding because kids are sending pictures, and you're going to have to sit down with your kids. Here's the video. Subscribe to her channel. I'm telling you. I am telling you. Now, listen to me. This is not, like, well, no. This is something that we can fix. You can't do anything about Ukraine. I'm sorry, you can't. You can't do anything about the economy. You can't do anything about this. You cannot do this. But you can do something about this. And by the way, the thing to do is you must subscribe to her newsletter and go to her website, of course, but also her Twitter feed. Child predation in particular is the only thing that you can actually do something about. You can, and I'm going to use this term, you can vaccinate your kids against this. If your kids say, I'm not going to do that, it never happens. You don't know what your kids are doing with their phones. You don't know the protection, the devices, and the services you can use to protect your kids. That's all I'm going to say. You can stop this. Everything else you cannot stop. You have no. You can talk about Zelensky all you want. You have no say. But your kid can be sextortion proof and understand what's happening because kids don't have judgment centers. You don't understand. This is something that, I teach my kids. No, you don't. This is a different world. Take it from me, okay? That's all I'm going to say. All right, Don Corleone, I'm going to leave you now. Don't forget, January 6th. January 14th. That's when you said canceled, I thought, the 14th they're canceling? Anyway.
No, I didn't say that at all. I said January 6th.
I know, but when I heard January, I thought, I only think of one thing when I hear January. That January 6th thing was such a waste of. What was that even about? Ask Kimberly Guilfoyle, see if she gets paid. In any event, there we go right now. This is it. January 14th at the cutting room. Don't forget preparewithlionel.com and mypillow.com, promo code Lionel. All right, my friends, have a great and a glorious day. See you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel, 9 a.m. Eastern time. And until then, as I always end with this valedictory, the monkey's dead, the show's over, sue ya, ta-ta.